How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Diamond Map channel. If you're new to me, thanks very much for watching. I'm Bilton, Chris Bilton, a jeweller from England. I've been making jewellery for coming up 25 years, and now last year I moved to Japan, so now I'm here at home with my little setup making jewellery, making instructional videos. Today's video comes inspired from other YouTube jewellers' channels that I see, and I've spotted this happen a few times. Like, what they're doing is they say the title of the video will be like how to make this or how to make that, and they will show them working in fast forward, and there's something I've seen them do and I know it doesn't work, and then I've spotted they've, even though it's in fast forward, they've edited out so the little problem they had, which definitely happened, hence the little edit, and I spotted it because I know what happens when you try this. So I'm going to show you what they did, what they didn't get away with, and they edited out of their video and then continued on with it and tried to sort of hide the fact that it happened. So watch out for this in other videos. It doesn't work, and I'm going to prove it, and then I'll show you how to make it so it does work. People are making collets, yeah, using these punches. So they turn up, get a strip of metal, they just roll that up, so you've got a nice little bit of tube, and then they put it in one of these holes where it kind of fits, and then hammer down into it. It's going to be a problem. Let me show you, let me make one quickly and I'll show you what happens. So I'm just going to roll this up. Do it quite badly, like a YouTube jeweller. Huh. You know, people used to like poo-poo any kind of instructional guide on YouTube, but I think that's got to change. There's some good stuff on YouTube. I'm learning a lot. Like, my kids recently got given a keyboard, and turns out I love playing it. It's kind of become my keyboard. So I'm learning like little things to play on the keyboard, all the chords and scales and that, and I'm really enjoying it. So that's all from YouTube. But when you really know about something, like say I know about making jewellery, I can recognise that there is a lot of dodgy information on it as well. I'm not trying to make this any specific size. It's just got to be a little bit of tube. Oh, that's hot. If you're making one of these, you have to turn it into like a Rex claw or something. Watch this, I like using this. There's my hammer. Yeah, if you're making like a little 4-claw, 6-claw collet or something like this, make sure your join is really good. I know I always say that, but it's really important. So they make something like that, yeah? Just a little bit of tube. I'm going to solder that up and then show you what doesn't work. It literally took me longer to find that in the acid than it did for me to make it. Anyway, here we are. So find the hole that suits it, where you can hammer it down into it, get the shape right. It's too big. It's going to be this one. So this is what they do on YouTube, yeah. Everything's in fast forward. Brrr. They put that in. Just make sure it's nice and vertical. They put that in there, then they get their punch and they just hammer it down. Alright, let me... Alright, just get you a proper camera angle. So yeah, they just put the punch on and they belt it down. I literally can't do this without hiding it from the camera. Hang on. Right, take 3. So I've got the punch on there and then I belt it down. That's what's definitely going to happen 100% of the time if you put a straight collet in there and try and hammer it out. It just breaks open the solder joint and gives you a nasty V shape in there. What a mess. So watch out for that. You'll see it on videos, like jewellery making videos, and then you'll notice, now that you know that's not possible, when you see them put in a straight bit of tube in there that's going to be punched out for a collet, look for the little editing tricks in there, and then it will edit, and then it will come, the next one will just be like a nice one in there. They're hammering it, or they're pulling out a nice finished one. They edited out having to remake it. So watch out for that. So now I'll show you what you got to do to make this work. So to make a collet, you can't just roll up a straight bit of metal. You've got to bend it first. So get that nice rainbow shape on it, and then when you roll it up, it's gonna join up like a little cone. So if you haven't done this kind of thing before, what I've done is I've cut, you don't have to do this, but it helps the metal not slip about. I cut a groove on the rounded section of a large pair of half-round pliers, which you cannot buy for some reason, you've got to make them. So just get a cheap pair of old pliers and then grind off the teeth one side, cutting a groove. So I start off with a saw blade. It's quite hard steel, so it's a bit of a job. If you've got an old worn out needle file, maybe good to use that. And I put one that side as well. Again, don't have to, but I find it helps. So hold that in the metal. Rounded half is towards you. A large, wider section pair of parallel pliers. Now you're levering that bit of the pliers against that corner, and then this bit of the pliers is pushing it up. See what I mean? So we're doing that. But it's important to have this against the peg so that doesn't move. Hold that nice and strong and just tilt that up. It's not hard on a bit of metal like this. And you may find, see that metal kinks like that. You'll be careful with that, because if that kinks too much, it just folds in your pliers. So you need to, you can always straighten out a little bit, but you need to do this with strength, but carefully, if you know what I mean. And you should be able to move along. And don't try and get a tight curve first go. Just do a gentle curve. You can anneal it again, tighten up that curve, anneal it again, tighten up that curve. And just try and move it along and tweak it the same amount every time. And you should get a relatively even curve. They're never perfect, but you should try to do it quite evenly. This bit of metal is quite thin, so it's prone to kinking, but see what it's doing. So I'll move along this, then I'll anneal it, and then I'll go along again. So yeah, go along it. I might tighten up the whole thing, to be honest. I'm going to anneal this again, but yeah, have a look at that curve. It should be nice, and you can, what I do sometimes, you get something kind of round. It doesn't have to be the same, but you can put it next to it. Put it next to it, and then you can sort of check your curvature, and it highlights where you need to work on it. So fast forward a few minutes, I annealed it, curved it again. I'm going to use that section. So just chop the ends off and then turn it up. Obviously, if you've got to make something specific size for a certain stone, you have to be very careful getting your size right. Quick bit of advice, when you're rolling it up, I would recommend don't just keep rolling it from one end, like roll it up a bit and then start from the other side. Otherwise, if you're just left with a tiny short bit, it's very hard to get a nice curve on it, and there's also a risk of damaging it with your tools if any pliers kind of slip off the edge. So start from one side, before you get to like the middle, just curl up the other side. It helps you out a little bit getting it finished. And if your curve was nice and even, it should close up relatively nicely. If you've got like a sharp curve and a straight bit, when you roll it up, it's going to kind of not go join, it's going to kind of do this. Then also, when you've got your little cone shape, one side will be vertical and one side will be really tilted. It'll be a weird looking little thing that'll be difficult to work with and make look nice. So there's my collet choosing which one to go in. It is tricky knowing how big to make it, because once you've punched it out, it gets quite a lot bigger, so not totally unusual. You end up cutting it through and reducing the size, but you don't really want to be doing that too much because you're mucking up the kind of curvature of it. Ideally it goes in one, maybe just above the surface, so you can tap it down. And then I'm gonna tap it a little bit. Now that's already under quite a lot of stress, but I've got the cone shape. Technically that could be finished, but it's nice if you can belt it in there and then get it all the sides touching, and then you know it's really a mathematically perfect cone. You've got to really whack it one. But as this has got to spread out quite a lot more, I'm going to anneal that before I hit it more, and it should stretch out quite well. These collets are quite good. Collet punches are quite good because you have the options of put it in a larger one and then tapping it out, increasing the size if you need to, or you can push it down into the next one, and then obviously the bottom's going to get tighter and you shouldn't change the top too much. Also, quite an old school thing, if you're sharing a workbench with other jewellers, before you start hammering things like that, you've got to say banging so people know what you're about to do, because the bench will vibrate and shake. You know, when you're soldering and you've got everything set up just so, really delicate, and you might just be about to solder it after spending 10 minutes getting it all set up and balanced nicely. The person next to you starts hammering like that and you weren't ready. It's very annoying. So just out of politeness and courtesy, tell people when you're about to start banging the bench. But there you go. Now that's down in there, probably should anneal it again if I can't be bothered. Give it another whack. I mean, that really pushes it from the inside. They almost come out polished, and you can actually see the surface of the metal where it's hit the metal there. So you know, if you hit it hard, it gets nice and even. And that's a very different shape now, like that. Bottom hole, very small compared to what it was. I'll just show you how I tidy these up. Go back to these pliers and with a paper whizzer. This one's at the end of its life, but I think it would be alright. Let's go around it. I will show you how to make a 6-claw Rex collet. A nice looking one. Like, usually I haven't seen them for a few years, but the Rex collets 6 claws used to buy from like the catalogues and stuff, or like just buying the jewellery parts. They were disgusting and the designs were horrible. So I'll show you how to make a nice one, a nice design one. And it starts with making a little coney shape like this. Et voila. So if you want to make a little coney shape using your collet punches, you've got to put a curve in it first, because if you do it like you see people doing on YouTube and then hiding their mistake, that happens. The solder joint won't take it when you try and punch it out. So there you go. So that was it, quick one today, thanks for watching. Yeah, you can't get away with it, putting a straight little collet in there and then banging it out. The solder joint will always split, like always, so watch out for other YouTube videos. I've seen it twice on two videos where they show them working and fast forward, and they cut it out. I said, they put it in there, and I thought that's not going to work. And then it was just edited, and then they were hammering it a little bit, and then taking out a nice finished one. It's like, wow, they ballsed it up and had to make another one. So watch out for that. Now you know. Yeah, that's it. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and share this video. Also, let me mention again, I'm now on Patreon. I'm looking for patrons to support the channel because I want to grow this whole thing into into something that's going to be very useful for jewelers, people learning jewellery, or just interested in how things are made. It's all going to be documented, all nice neat playlists and different variations of collets and 3 stones, single stones. Just in the future, the more work I do, the more of a really good kind of library of information it will be for future people. So that's my dream, but I need support, I need help to buy these things, because as you already know, if you're a practicing jeweler, or if you're interested in it and you're looking up what tools cost and the metal and stuff, it's expensive to work in jewellery. So yeah, I'm going to need a little bit of financial support to get going, to buy things, to work on, to make in the video. Thanks for watching, so see you next time. Stay tuned. Bye.